its French abbreviation as DAG or DAG. There are less than 5 Anglophone DAGs in 38 ministries. There are equally less than 5 Anglophone secretaries general in 38 ministries. In the administration, Anglophones are almost completely absent. There are only 8 Anglophone senior divisional officers out of 58. There are equally less than 40 Anglophones who are divisional officers in Cameroon, in spite of the fact that Cameroon counts up to 360 DOs. The military is another black area for Anglophones. French is the de facto official language in the military. The police force witnesses a similar level of Anglophone marginalization, according to some analysts. Anglophones have been indeed in all of these for a very long time. But when we look at what is actually happened, many of you have an impression that all is not going well at all. Because when you look at the military, like I said, it's another black area for Anglophones, and French is the de facto official language in that corps. The police force witnesses a similar level of Anglophone marginalization, and Anglophones have been, conditioned not to dream of heading the national security and defense ministries. At the police training college in Mutengene, more than 70% of the students are Francophones, even though the school is found on Anglophone soil. The presidency is almost exclusively Francophone territory. Anglophone officials there are not only few, but have been programmed to play only second fiddle. Of the more than 36 heads of diplomatic missions, only 6 are Anglophones. In the most important English-speaking countries like the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada, there is no Anglophone heading the diplomatic missions. Anglophones, despite the sweeping victories of the ruling party in the 2020 municipal, parliamentary, and the 2018 senatorial elections in the Northwest and Southwest regions, continue to be marginalized by the ruling party, according to some of them. Despite the fact that the ruling party was put to birth in the Anglophone town of Bamenda, no Anglophone for the over 37-year existence of the CPDM has ever been Secretary General of the ruling party or even elected to the second fiddle position of CPDM Assistant Secretary General. So the statistics are indeed so many, and if you go, for instance, in the National Oil Refinery Corporation, known by its French acronym SONARA, that is based in Limbe, more than 90% of senior staff and the overwhelming majority of junior staff are Francophones. Although SONARA is on Anglophone soil, the official language there is French. Since its inception in 1979, no Anglophone has occupied the position of general manager or even deputy general manager. Even though crude oil is refined in Sonara in Limbe, the long-awaited Limbe Deep Sea Port project has remained only on papers for decades. On the contrary, government has spent billions to construct a pipeline linking Limbe to the Douala ports from where fuel is exported. The Limbe Deep Sea Port, or Natural Deep Sea Port, which has an opening to the Atlantic Ocean, has been neglected in favor of the Douala River Port, which requires dredging every year, and yet heavy vessels cannot anchor in it. Now, Anglophone pressure groups are of the opinion that this was deliberately done to stifle development in Limbe, in the Anglophone part of the country, as Limbe will have become the economic capital of Cameroon. Anglophones working with the state broadcaster Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV, be they at the central services or regional levels, are treated as second-class citizens. The domination of Francophones at CRTV is appalling, according to some of them. Out of the 10 chiefs of stations and 4 heads of FM stations, only 4 are Anglophones. At the central service, there are only 2 Anglophone directors out of more than 10 directors. If an Anglophone is director, the general manager will rely more on the deputy, who is a Francophone. There has never been an Anglophone general manager of CRTV since its creation. At the Bank of Central African States, the central bank of countries in CEMAC, there is no single senior Anglophone official. That is probably the reason there is no single word in English in all denominations of CFE notes. No Anglophone has ever been president of Cameroon Football Governing Body FECAFOOT since independence. Now, we look at the disappearance of some giant companies in Anglophone Cameroon. Most of the giant companies in the former West Cameroon that stood the test of time and employed thousands of Anglophones have since independence been shut down. The only surviving Anglophone economic giant, the Cameroon Development Corporation CDC, that was vibrant in 1993 when the first all Anglophone conference AAC1 held, has been split into bits and pieces and are being gradually sold out to cold-blooded capitalists. There was no Anglophone on the committee for the privatization that handled the sale of CDC tea estate. Other companies in Anglophone regions that have disappeared after the unity state of 1972 include, among others, National Produce Marketing Board, Cameroon Bank, Womb Area Development Authority WADA, West Cameroon Air Transport Power Camp, Santa Coffee Estate, Tiko, Bisonga Bank, and Bali Airports. If we delve into the area of infrastructure, in fact, in the Anglophone regions, there is poor or no infrastructure. Road infrastructure in the Anglophone Cameroon is in terrible mess. There is no good road that links the 2 Anglophone regions to travel from one Anglophone region to the other, except now that we have the Bamenda Enugu Trans-African Highway. Before now, the Anglophones must pass through Francophone Cameroon. In some places, Anglophones have to pass through Nigeria to get to their part of the country. The tarring of the ring road in the Northwest region, which President Paul Biya announced in 1984, he will personally supervise its construction and preside over its inauguration, is far from nearing completion. To make matters worse, portions of the road which were poorly constructed have become a nightmare for users. The number of lives lost on that road is counted in their hundreds. A few years ago, government announced that it had lobbied and obtained funds that will conveniently tar the Babaju-Bamenda road. But as soon as the road was tarred right after Mbuda in the Francophone West region, and with expectations that the construction will continue right up to Bamenda in the Northwest region, as was initially budgeted, news came that the funds allocated for the project had been exhausted. Other neglected road projects in Anglophone Cameroon include, among others, the 43-kilometer Lum-Tombel Kumba Road, Kumba Ekondotiti Road, the Nchang Menji Road, Bamenda Mbengu Road. All hydroelectricity generation plants are in Francophone Cameroon. The Mekim, Memvele, the Lompanga, the Naktigal, the Deya, the Songlulu, and Lagdo. The Yokepa generating plant that used to operate in the former West Cameroon has since been shut down in what Anglophone pressure groups say is part of the Francophone conspiracy to slow down development in Anglophone Cameroon. Now, we look at the attempts to strangle Anglo-Saxon system of education. Cameroon's education sector is theoretically divided by decree into 2 subsystems, one Anglophone and the other Francophone. The Anglophone educational system has been attacked on several occasions, notably during the attempt to reform the GCE. It took the stiff resistance from the parents who braved cannon and tear gas to save the Anglo-Saxon system of education. The bilingual school structure is a juxtaposition of the 2 school systems. The attempt to harmonize the educational system in the country has been categorized as a diabolic intention to kill the Anglo-Saxon system of education and the Anglophone culture in Cameroon. In most of the universities and professional schools in Francophone Cameroon, few subjects are taught in English. Over 90% of the subjects are taught in French, an alien system of academic terrorism characterized by intimidation and malpractice. While nobody cares if Anglophones are admitted into the elite professional schools, compulsory quotas of Francophones were once forced into the Faculty of Medicine in the University of Boya through the barrel of the gun. A vice-chancellor was sacked for failing to admit Francophone students into the Anglo-Saxon University, while the Faculty of Medicine in the next-door Douala can forget to admit Anglophones and get away with it. Now, when we look at the Anglophone media, there is definitely a bleak future for this media. It is true the private media in Cameroon has problems, but the Anglophone media has a peculiar problem. This is not only explained by the fact that there are few Anglophones in positions of responsibility who can give advertising jobs to English-speaking media organs or sponsor them. The honest truth is that Francophones in juicy positions take delight in giving advertising jobs even when they are written in English language to French newspapers. English media organs are viewed by Francophone authorities as spies or opposants. Of the over 10 daily newspapers in Cameroon, only one is published in English language. Now, what is the way forward? As Cameroon battles to resolve the more than 6 years crisis in the two English-speaking regions, political analysts appear unanimous that a return to the federal form of government offers a pragmatic and result-oriented administration for a country like Cameroon with diverse specificities. Neighboring Nigeria practices a federal system